Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So BT9 is releasing next week. So we got to go through all these cards. We got to figure out which ones are the best, which ones are worth picking up, and just kind of what the set overall feels like. Yeah, that we recently had the EX2 get released, but that was a side set. This is a main set, so it's okay. After this, we'll have like 3 months without any more sets. So we actually finally are caught up with the original plan for release dates for all these sets. So now we'll have our regular stacked every 3 months releases. It feels nice to finally be here. Hopefully we don't have any more delays. We can finally get into these sets. So we're going to go through each and every color of this set. We're going to break it up into multiple videos. So we'll do, red, blue, green, yellow, all that stuff. Each in its own individual video. So if there's a certain color you're really excited about, go find that video. Also, if you're going to be a green fan for this format, check out our Augumon. This is handmade out of clay by my wife, hand-painted as well. A fantastic memory marker. If you're a Terriermon fan, a Gargomon fan, or just a green fan in general, I think this thing is super, super cute. Also, if you got our Cocomon, this is a great combo piece to go with your Cocomons as well. Really, really like this. You can find that on our Etsy store, link in the description below. Also there, you can find all of our previous memory markers that we featured on the channel, as well as some of our Battle Ready Inc. merch. Alright, next up we got yellow here. So we got a new Tokomon, an X-Antibody Tokomon at that. Your turn, once per turn, when a card is added to your security stack, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 1000 DP for the turn. This is pretty interesting. It's kind of combining two different yellow strategies in one, right? So there's the yellow strategy that's all about recovery, and then there's the other yellow strategy that's usually all about DP minusing. Usually those strategies don't go hand in hand though, so it's a little interesting to see. There might be something that is in the works that could be done with this. I'm just not sure yet. We've seen a lot of the gatomon in the past, like inheritables, like when attacking minus DP, but not usually anything that's like when recovery do any sort of minus DP. So we'll have to just keep an eye on this card to see if anything comes of it. So moving down here into our actual yellow cards, we got a new toy Augumon. Again, just like we talked about in the other colors, this is a vanilla like tons of others that we've had in the past, but this is a new typing in the form of puppet. So if we ever get any puppet-centric strategies, we at least have a rookie that we can incorporate into it. Now we got a Pillowmon here for another rookie. All turns, players can't play Digimon by effects. This is a really powerful counter to something like Mastamon that loves to play cards by effects. Also counters like some oddball stuff like the blue engine, like we saw with the Metal Piranha, that it plays out with stuff like Waymon. They play out inheritables, things like that by effects. Also shuts down stuff like Jessmon, being able to play out free Sistermons, things like that. So an interesting card. I just don't think there's anything so prevalent in the meta that you need to include this immediately. I think this is just a really cool toolbox card to have for when those decks do come into the meta very strong. It's good to always have a tech card, and that's just kind of what that is. Next, we got the new Salomon X Antibody here. This has a 0 Evo cost on top of other Salomons, just like we discussed in the other colors. This is a black box alternate Evo cost. This is not an effect, okay? So you can use this in raising area on top of another rookie Salomon for 0 Evo, and then you immediately get your draw for that. Now, this when Digivolving effect, it does need to be in the play area, right? So when Digivolving, look at the top card of your security stack. You may add it to your hand if you do recovery 1. That's very, very powerful. Now, thankfully, this is only when Digivolving and not on play. A lot of the other rookie X-Antibody stuff that we've seen so far has been on play or recovery. I like the balance here of only being when Digivolving on top of another Salomon. So you have to use it in a very Salomon-focused deck. I dig it. It's a very powerful card, and it has at least some solid balance to it. So very cool. Definitely some synergy potential right there for that card. Now we got another new vanilla in the form of Starmon here. This is going to have your mutant keyword, which I'm pretty sure we've had mutant before, but just on a vanilla here. So 4 play cost, not too bad. Now we got the Gatomon X antibody. So again, just like all X antibodies, it can evo for 0 on top of its other predecessor, its non-X antibody typings, or to normal evo or 4 play cost, not too bad. When attacking inheritable though, if you have 3 or more security cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 TP for the turn. So again, we've seen this in tons of other Gatomons already. I literally talked about it at the beginning with the baby that we saw. When attacking, minus 2k DP, you know, like we've seen that a lot on a lot of Gatomons, so this isn't really anything new. Now we got the Nefertimon here, armor. So we got some really cool armor decks in the works here. Very, very excited. So 0 Evo on top of Gatomon. Normally level 4 armors Evo on top of rookies for a reduced cost. Normally a 3 Evo cost usually becomes a 2 Evo cost on top of a specific rookie, but Nefertimon, because it's Gatomon, and in the lore and in the anime, it's always Gatomon hanging out with all the rookies, even though she's technically on par with an ultimate. It's just how it is. But 0 Evo cost on top of Gatomon, so I do like that little bit of balance there. Has the armor purge and ability, and then when attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn. So again, minus the 2000. It's an interesting card. I wouldn't say it's like too crazy or anything like that. This is going to take a level 4 slot, and you have to combine it with like another Gatomon, so which is going to be another level 4 slot. I'm not a huge fan of this one. However, Pegasusmon is really cool. So this is a little bit more traditional of an armor. 2 Evo cost on top of the rookie Patamon, or 3 on top of other rookies. You know, that's a little bit more standard. Armor purge ability, and then when digivolving, one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -1 until the end of your opponent's next turn. Just a solid level 4 little generic effect, when digivolving effect, that's pretty neat. Also has armor purge because it is an armor, so you get some multiple benefits going on there. So you can like evo into this guy, minus security attack 1 on something, swing, armor purge, evo into a second one if you wanted security attack minus something else. You know, it's a cool card. Also, this artwork is gorgeous. I talked about it in the blue one, but I've got a JP version of this that was sent to me. Super cool artwork, and it's an uncommon, which means we'll get a pre-release hollow foiling of this card. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be picking up a few of these as pre-releases, just because it's a cool card. We haven't seen it like do anything too crazy in the meta, but I think it's a solid card nonetheless. Moving on here, we got another vanilla in the form of Dark Super Starmon. What a cool name. Another vanilla though. So duo color vanilla, mutant type, yellow black. I really like duo color level 5s. Even if they're just vanillas, that's okay. Simply because you can incorporate them into decks that normally would be totally impossible. So have like a low end yellow deck and like a megas that are all blacks, or reverse it. Now we got an Angelmon X antibody. This artwork, I just feel like it's this feels like a mega to me. I don't know, like this feels like something like Ophanimon level of a Digimon here. Just looks so epic. It is also an uncommon, so we will get a pre-release of this that'll be foil, and I bet this will also look incredible as a foil. So 3 Evo cost, level 5, or 0 from Angelmon, so you're just going to be able to Evo on top of your other level 5s here. When digivolving, until the end of your opponent's turn, one of your opponent's Digimon gains security attack -1. Very similar to tons of other Angelmons that we've seen before. Just the angels in general kind of do a lot of security attack -1. And then, if this Digimon has Angelmon or X antibody in its Digivolution cards, and you have 5 or fewer security cards, recovery +1. I like the balance, okay? You know who I'm going to talk about, but Jet Sylphimon should have had that restriction. 5 or fewer, recovery 1. You should not be able to go beyond that with like these when digivolving effects. If you play Holy Wave, that's fine, okay? If you want to use Holy Wave to go beyond 5, okay. But I think these level 5 when digivolving recoveries, they should all be restricted. We even saw it with, it was the DNA one in the last set, the level 5, the yellow blue one. It had the same stipulation. You know, you got to be at 5 or less. So I like the balance here. Very cool card. Angelmon or X antibody. So if you have like the Salomon or the Gatomon in the inheritables, you know, you can still get that effect. Very, very powerful. Next, we got this Rise Greymon X antibody. I talked about this one in red. This one is super cool. This is like a mini Shine Greymon right here on a level 5. So 4 Evo costs normally on top of level 4, pretty steep. But it is very powerful. We've seen these types of level, or these 4 Evo cost level 5s in the past, and usually they're still pretty powerful. Looking at like the Metal Greymon from last set, and then we've also got a couple more in this set also. But usually when they're a level 5 of a 4 Evo cost, they're very powerful, and this one is definitely that. So 1 Evo on top of your Rise Greymons, because it is an X antibody, which is fantastic. If you go Rise Greymon in all the way up in a raising area, promote, use its ability like its Digiburst, and then Evo into this for 1, pretty solid. When Digivolving, you may play 1 red or yellow Tamer card from your hand without paying its memory cost. That's a Rise Greymon thing. That's like what he does, yellow or red. Then if this Digimon has a Rise Greymon or X antibody in its Digivolution cards, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 2000 DP for the turn for each red or yellow Tamers in for the turn. So that's like the Shine Greymon aspect of it. So minus 2k for every Tamer, every red and yellow Tamer you have on board. Very Shine Greymon. Now this is a single target, but it does add up. So it's still really powerful. Getting to play a Tamer out for free, especially 1 Evo into this Rise Greymon, play out a 4 cost Tamer, really good. Even if you Evo for 4 into this and play a 4 play cost Tamer for free off of this ability, it's still a solid trade-off as opposed to like a 3 Evo, right, or 3 Evo level 5, and then you gotta do the 4 play cost Tamer. That's 7 memory as opposed to this 4. So either way, it's still advantageous to do this. And then your turn, this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP for each Tamer you have in play. So again, very Shine Greymon-esque, getting that DP buff. Cool card. It's a cool card. I really dig Bandai for being like, hey, here's this random one-off card to help, supplement this older strategy that's kind of fallen by the wayside. Here's a little bit of support, making it a little bit more relevant still. I appreciate Bandai for that. Lots of other card games are very much, here's a set, has nothing to do with previous sets. We'll never talk about those sets again or provide support for them. I hate when card games do that. This one, Bandai is doing a really good job with it. Next, we got Ryzen. So this is going to be your support for Justimon, as well as a new deck that we got on the horizon. 3 Evo cost on top of yellow or black duo color. Hand main. So this is like the first set we've seen that has these hand abilities here. So if you have a Digimon with Justimon or Raidenmon in its name, put this card at the bottom of one of those Digimon Digivolution sources by paying 1 memory. So 1 memory, slap this as an inheritable underneath a Justimon. That's pretty cool. When attacking, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4000 DP for the turn. 4000 DP, still pretty solid. Not too bad. Allowing you to swing over it. Also, keep in mind this is not once per turn. So when combining something like, I don't know, Justimon, right, that can attack twice, that's going to be minus 8k with a Justimon. So really, really cool stuff, really powerful. And then if you don't have your Justimon and you have your level 5 and you just need to get a Mega on field, he does have the when Digivolving by trashing 1 card with Machine or Cyborg in it straight from your hand, which in a Justimon deck, you'll have plenty of those in the deck. One of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 4000 DP for the turn. So still getting that main effect there. It's a cool card. It's a really cool card. There's several of these. I think almost every color has one in this set for the Justimon. I think they're all really cool, like one-ofs in a Justimon deck. We saw the Suigenmon there in the blue-black. Then we got the Ryzenmon. And where are the other ones? There we see the Raidenmon in black itself. I feel like there's another one in there. I might have missed it. But still, very cool stuff. Oh, there it is, the Fusionmon. So lots of black. Okay, so every color with the black version. I don't think there was a red one, though, unfortunately. Red already got enough cool stuff this set. They don't need anything else. Now we got the magnamon X antibody. This one's kind of awkward. So 4 Evo cost normal or 1 on top of a magnamon. When Digivolving, if this Digimon has magnamon or X antibody in its Digivolution cards, for each card in your security stack, all of your opponent's Digimon and security Digimon get minus 1000 DP for the turn. That's pretty cool. You can do a pretty powerful blanket 5000 or 5 or 6000 DP minus on your opponent's whole field. That's really good. My issue though is there's not really a good magnamon in the game. We've had the on play one that will allow you to recovery 2, but I feel like that one's really fallen by the wayside because it's such a steep pay cost for memory that no one really uses it anymore. And then the other one is a vanilla, which no one really uses. Like, it was used way back in the day with Megazoo, but again, no one really plays that anymore either, just because it's a massive we need a new, basically my point is we need a new magnamon that's like something you digivolve and not something you're gonna hard play. But besides that, at least it does trigger if you have an X antibody in the sources, so you will get some benefit there. And then end of attack, once per turn, you may add the top card of your security stack to your hand to unsuspend this Digimon. So it is once per turn. You can't just like OTK your opponent with this. Still pretty cool though, get a second swing in. It's a cool Digimon. I mean, it really is. The only issue is the magnamons aren't very good. So until then, I think this will be kind of on the wayside. Now we got the Magnamon X antibody. This thing is super cool. This is exactly what armors need. I talked about this a whole bunch when we went over blue, but I'll go over here as well. 3 Evo costs on top of blue or yellow level 5s. You'll almost never do that. This is for armors, okay? Armors don't have a good defense, and this is like a perfect wall that they can throw up. So Digivolve 4 on top of Magnamon. Keep in mind, though, we're going to go over it, but there's an option card that lets you Evo on top of any armor, okay? As long as it has the armor keyword, you can Evo on top of it, so that's very important. Because if you can only Evo on top of Magnamon, it's extremely limited. But doing it, opening it up like that with that option card is very cool. Opponent's turn, when your opponent's Digimon attacks, if this Digimon has X antibody or a card with armor form in its traits, in its Digivolution cards, you may change the attack target to this card. So it's like blocker on crack, okay? It's just like, I get to pick and choose. It doesn't matter if I'm suspended, unsuspended, it doesn't matter. If I want you to swing into this guy, you have to do it. If I say, yep, you gotta attack the Magnamon, like, okay, well, all right, we're attacking Magnamon now. And then you get to pick and choose. What I really like about that is if it's unsuspended, my opponent swings in with a Mega, I'm like, all right, allow the Mega to get through, that's fine. But basically none of your other stuff can attack now. Really cool stuff. However, if you do have to take that hit, right? You have no security left, whatever the case may be. I gotta take the hit. Okay, so your Mega swings over my Magnamon X antibody here. All turns, when this Digimon would be deleted, you may place the top card of this Digimon at the top of your security stack, face down, to prevent that deletion. So it's like armor purge, basically. So you're going to armor purge away the X antibody, and then instead of going to the trash, though, it goes over to your security, giving you essentially a recovery 1. And if you have the Magnamon underneath, you still have your blocker, your unsuspended blocker Magnamon, just ready to go to block something else. So literally, you can eat 3 swings. You're going to stop the first swing by armor purging into security. Then they're going to swing into security and hit this guy, right? So that's going to be two checks there, or 2 attacks, and then a third one you're gonna block with the Magnamon blocker that was underneath this guy. I mean, that's some good defense right there, and that's assuming you're at 0 security, right? That you just, oh, I've got to stop 3 attacks somehow, and I'm at 0 security. I don't know how I'm gonna manage that. Just Evo into a single Magnamon X antibody on top of a Magnamon. Like, literally, that's all you got to do. Such a powerful card. Really, really cool. All right, moving down, we're going to check into any other duo colors here. We got a mekumon here, and this is a very, very pretty card, as well as has an alt art. Again, anytime we have a rookie sort of card, I say rookie, mekumon, gatomon, they're sort of rookies in a way. But security, at the end of battle, play this card without paying its memory cost. So this is kind of like the Witchmon that we saw in the Magnamon deck, but instead of on play getting an effect, you just get the security. But the nice part about this is it's a duo color, so you can use it, purple or yellow, similar to like if you combine the Wizardmon and the Witchmon together, you would kind of get this. And then on deletion, if this Digimon has 2 or more colors, gain 2 memory. So this is really good again in like a Magnamon deck or an Ordinance, like we're going to talk about, because once you get into these big bodies, it's a lot of work. It's a ton of resources to get into either of those Digimon. So when they get deleted, it feels super bad. Okay, it feels so bad. So having this mekumon gaining you 2 memory, if they really want to invest in it, they're gonna have to really pay for deleting it. So if you're gonna Gaia Force me for 8, well, that's gonna Gaia Force for 10 now, because my mekumon underneath it. So really cool stuff. Moving on though, we've got the vicious mode here. Same inheritable also. If this Digimon has 2 or more colors, gain 2. So that Gaia Force now turns into a 12 play cost Gaia Force. Yikes! That's pretty good. The level 5 effect here it's interesting. So on play or when digivolving, I dig the versatility there. 4 Evo cost is really steep though, but it's very reminiscent of the Mekumon and the Gatomon. They have low play cost but high Evo cost. That's the same thing here. We got a 6 play cost, which is only 2 more than the Evo cost. But you may trash 1 card in your hand. If a purple card is trashed in this way, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. If a yellow card is trashed this way, one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3000 DP for the turn. So that's kind of neat. Got some little bit of versatility. Also having a nice discard effect. Trashing cards in your hand is really important for like a Magnamon deck. So that way you have the exact target you need to recover back with the Magnamon and then play out. So yeah, pretty cool stuff there. I think it's probably the weakest of the Evo line though that we're gonna see here. Next we got the regulmon, and so again we got a big 4 Evo cost. Purple or yellow, 12 play cost, 12,000 DP, pretty solid. But on play 1 purple or yellow Digimon with 6,000 DP or less from your trash without paying its memory cost. If you've been playing purple yellow like Magnamon, that's already in your plan because a Flame Hell Scythe already wants to play 6,000 DP or less. So I like how they kind of thought about that you're already playing 6,000 DP Digimon. If your security stack has 1 or fewer cards, you may play 1 level 6 or lower Digimon card with Angel or Fallen Angel in its traits from your trash without paying its memory cost instead. That's really powerful. So you could play out like a Magnamon or an Ophanimon with this ability, and then once you do that, you can do this end of a turn. You may DNA Digivolve this Digimon and one of your other Digimon in play into a Digimon in your hand by paying its Digivolution cost, or DNA Digivolution cost. So play out a level 6, immediately DNA into your Ordinance here. Or another caveat to that is, say you've already got a level 5 in play, play out the 6,000 DP or less Digimon with this on play effect. Those are going to DNA into Magnamon end of turn. Like say they got a Gatomon or a Salomon inheritable that's going to let them DNA. They're going to DNA into Magnamon. Magnamon is going to do its thing, and then they're going to DNA the regulmon and the Magnamon here into your Ordinance. So double DNA there. Very powerful stuff. Really dig it. Super cool. Now we're going to get into the Ordinance itself. So this is going to be your kind of your new boss monster for your Magnamon decks. I have seen some theories about not using this in a Magnamon deck. Now I feel like it really goes hand in hand with it, but you do not have to use it with Magnamon. I think it's just a really neat combination of 2 decks that you can do, or you can just go turbo Ordinance and be super efficient as possible in getting this thing out. So 6 Evo cost on top of purple or yellow, or you can DNA for 0 using 2 level 6s, 1 yellow, 1 purple. 2 megas though, 2 megas to make this is still a lot. Like you have to almost every time use it with the regulmon to be able to manage this. But when digivolving, when DNA digivolving, delete one of your opponent's level 6 or higher Digimon and all of their level 5 or lower Digimon. For each Digimon deleted by this effect, recovery +1. Could you imagine that? Like, I'm playing against Rookie Rush. Okay, you've got 4 things on field. I just nuked your whole field, and on top of that, I recovery for it. Like, oh, golly. Like, that's really powerful. Like, this is a huge card to, like, pull off, right? It's going to take time. Your opponent's probably going to hit you a couple times, get a pretty big field amassed, but then once you're ready to, like, pop this thing onto field, it's like you just completely reset your opponent back from what they were doing. You just cleared everything that they've spent several turns setting up, and then you recover all the damage back that they've done to you. Yeah, this is still pretty cool card. And then on deletion, you may trash the top card of your security stack to play this card without paying its memory cost. That's kind of interesting, and this isn't once per turn, I might add. So if they keep deleting this, you could, in theory, just keep trashing a card to bring this thing back out. Like, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to say. It's a very powerful card. It's difficult to get out. 2 level 6s to DNA into this thing, but even still pretty awesome. Like, once you do stick it to the field, it's going to do some absolute crazy damage. Next up, we're going to get into our tamers here. We got Tai and Kari. This thing is very good. Expect to see this a lot. Okay, we've already seen the yellow hybrid with the red base starting to really pick up. I know myself, I've used it to great success, going undefeated in some pretty big tournaments with that deck, and now you're just going to give me even more tools. Oh, like, I feel bad every time I break that deck out. I'm like, all right, here we go. Yellow hybrid red, we're about to just absolutely decimate, and then giving me something like this. Oof. So start of your turn, if you have 3 or fewer security cards, gain 1 memory. If your opponent has 3 or fewer security cards, gain 1 memory. So it's similar to TK and Kari, but instead of gaining 2 when your security is lower than your opponent's, this rewards you for going offensive. And that's what I really like about this, is sometimes when you're playing yellow hybrid, your opponent doesn't want to swing into your security. They don't want to trigger your options. They don't want to give you free tamers, whatever the case may be. And you're like, okay, well, I really want to go offensive here, but I don't want to make your security lower than mine because it makes it even harder to trigger my TK and Kari. Just play this instead of TK and Kari, because then you can go offensive and be offensive and get rewarded for being offensive in yellow hybrid. And I really like that. And then your turn, when your red or yellow Digimon attacks, you may suspend this tamer to give all your opponent's security Digimon minus 2,000 DP for the turn. So that's even better. You combine this with something like Seraphimon, the old Seraphimon. His DP's, I think, 10,000. Like, that's pretty low. And you're going to swing in for 2 security checks, maybe more, depending on your build. At 10,000 DP, that can be really risky. But you combine this with TK and Kari, now it's basically like he's 12,000. Got 2 of these, it's like he's a 14,000 swinging in with security attack +1/+2. Yeah, this card's really, really good, and it gives you access to all the red options that are out there, duo color options like the Sunrise Buster that we're going to talk about. It's a good card, okay? You're going to see a lot of it in yellow hybrid. All right, next we got the TK and Izzy. This is an interesting card. So 4 play cost, duo tamer, start of your main phase. So this is after draw, after raising, main phase. If you have a level 5 or higher Digimon, gain 1 memory. If your opponent has a level 5 or higher Digimon, gain 1 memory. Very green, kind of even very yellow card. Your turn, when one of your yellow or green Digimon digivolves, you may suspend this tamer to have one of your opponent's Digimon get minus 1,000 DP until the end of your opponent's next turn. That's very much a yellow thing, DP minusing, but also lowering the DP of your opponent's Digimon so your greens can swing over with piercing. Like, very yellow-green card. I really dig it. I don't know how much use we'll see out of it, but it is still very cool. Now getting into our option cards, I believe this is the last 2 cards we're talking about here. We got the option card I talked about at the beginning, okay? The Awakening of Gold Digizord. 3 play cost. If you have a Digimon with armor form in its trait, you may use this card, ignoring its color requirements. Main, just like every armor like option card we've seen in the past, main, one of your Digimon with armor form in its trait may digivolve into a Digimon card with magnamon in its name in your hand, ignoring its digivolution requirements. So color, level, anything. Without paying its memory cost. Without paying its memory cost. You can actually turn that 4 Evo into a 3 Evo because you're only playing 3 memory for this card. The Digimon Digivolve with this effect can't have its DP reduced by your opponent's card effects until the end of your next time your opponent's turn ends. So it's very difficult to remove off the field after that. So really cool card. Security, return 1 card with magnamon in its name from your trash to your hand. Add this card to your hand. I like that as well. So it's regular magnamon or magnamon X, whatever's in your trash. You can add either or back. I like that versatility. It's just a very good card. If you're playing Armor Rush, I definitely recommend adding in a couple of these, 1 or 2 of these, along with your X antibody magnamons. And the last card we're going to talk about is probably the best card, arguably in the set. Definitely the best card out of yellow. 5 play cost. You may play 1 red or yellow tamer card from your hand without paying its memory cost. So if you play a 4 cost tamer, that basically makes this a 1 cost option card. A 1 cost option card. How crazy is that? And then one of your opponent's Digimon gets minus 3,000 DP for each red or yellow tamer you have in play for the turn. So 1 cost, minus 15,000 DP on my opponent's Digimon. Yikes. And then security, activate this card's main effect. So this card is going to be stupid. Just getting out, play out free tamers and then instantly delete something off my opponent's board. This card is nutty good. Expect to see a ton of this and Tai and Kari in those yellow hybrid decks. Now, I do also want to just quickly touch on one last card. I've been missing these in the red and blue ones, but we are getting these promos. These last promos that we've got listed here, we're getting those as box toppers. So 1 pack contains 2 cards, 2 of 6 available here, and we got Boutmon first up for yellow here. Alright, so 7 play cost, 3 Evo, level 5, 7,000 DP. Your turn, when this Digimon would Digivolve into a card with Shaman or Wizard in its traits, you may trash up to 3 cards from the top of your security stack. Wow. For each card trashed by this effect, reduce the memory cost of the Digivolution by 1. So this is very much like a Pulsemon sort of card, gives that, that Pulsemon vibes to it. I'm pretty sure this is like in his Evo chain. But up to 3, so you can pick how much you want to do. This is to get you down to that perfect 3 threshold that you want to be for all those inheritables when attacking once per turn. If you have 3 security cards, unsuspend this Digimon. It's exactly at 3. So if you're exactly at 3, that's where you want to be, and then you can just go ham on all those Pulsemon effects. So that's a nice little include there. Again, I did miss out on the red and blue ones when we got to those. But I'll try to cover them in another video when they become a little bit more relevant. So remember, just these last 6 cards here, not this baby here, but everything else will be included in that extra box topper.